Welcome all. Today let us study about art and architecture in post-Mauryan period. The vast Mauryan Empire was controlled by various rulers like the Shungas, Kanvas, Kushanas and Guptas in the north and the Shatavahanas, Ishwakus, Habiras and Vakatakas in southern India after the 2nd century BCE. The period of 2nd century BCE also marked the rise of the main Brahminical sects such as Vaishnavas and Shaivas. The post-Mauryan period is dominated by rock-cut architecture. In the early periods, Shunga in north and Shatavahanas in south contributed to post-Mauryan art and decorated the stupas with features like stone railings and subsequent carvings. Shunga and Kanva art. During the rule of Kanva and Shunga dynasty, a plenty of cave temples, chaityas and stupas were built. Buddhist shrines such as stupas at Sanchi and Brihats started during the Mauryan period underwent architectural expansion. Sculpture of Brihat are tall like images of Yaksha and Yakshini of Mauryan period and were discovered from the Gwalior and Mathura. Images stick to the picture plane and in the relief panels depicting narratives, illusion of three-dimensionality is shown with tilted perspective. Human figures, yakshas, yakshinis, figures of birds and beasts were made in wonderfully intricate patterns. Kanva rulers were instrumental in pushing Buddhist architectural influence to central India from Magadha region and northern India. Next, Shatavahana art. After the downfall of Mauryan Empire, Shatavahana dynasty came to power in Deccan. The grand stupa of Amaravati and other stupas in the Krishna river valley were built during this period. The sculptures at Amaravati have profound naturalism in human, animal and floral forms. There is a sense of movement and energy in sculptures. It had a great influence over South Indian sculpture. The monuments of Jaggayapeta, Nagarjunakonda and Amravati are such examples. Under Shatavahanas, Karla, the biggest rock-cut Chaitya hall was excavated. It is decorated with human and animal figures. The Vihara caves at Nasik were excavated with front pillars carved with Ghata base and Ghata capital with human figures. Next, Kushana art. The period of Kushana Empire marked a progress in architecture, sculpture and painting. Kanishka was a patron of art as is evident by the cities of Mathura, Takshila and Peshwara and the innumerable stupas, chaityas and viharas built during his reign. Kanishka erected a multi-stored chaitya and monastery on the mortal remains of Buddha at his capital, Purushpura or Peshwar. Four specific schools of art flourished in Mathura, Sarnatha, Amaravati and Gandhara during his rule. The Gandhara art, a blend of Greek, Roman and Indian art forms, reached its pinnacle of success during this period. Stupas in post-Mauryan period. Both Brihat and Sanchi stupa were originally commissioned during Mauryan period, but during post-Mauryan period, the next phase of sculptural development is noteworthy in the stylistic progression. Depiction of posture gets naturalistic and there is no stiffness in the body. Carving's techniques seem more advanced than that of Mauryan period. In this phase, historical narrative are carved with considerable details. Next, Brihat Stupa. The Brihat Stupa located in Satna district, Madhya Pradesh. Many works of art were apparently added during Shunga period. In the relief panels depicting narratives, illusion of three-dimensionality is shown with tilted perspective. At times, more than one event at one geographical place is clubbed in the picture space. Availability of the space is utilized to the maximum by sculptures. The Brihat Eastern Gateway is the only remainings of four original gateways. The craftsmen were believed to have been from northwestern India, as they inscribed masons' work in Kharoshti. The script of Gandhara. Gandhara was the core territory of Indo-Greek and they brought Hellenistic technique and style to manufacture gateway. Brihat Stupa is famous for depicting Queen Maya Devi's dream, a descending elephant and rescue of man by Bodhisattva deer. Next, Sanchi Stupa. Sanchi Stupa, a World Heritage Site, is located in Raisen district of Madhya Pradesh. Stupa at Sanchi has upper as well as lower Pradakshina Patha or circumambulatory path. It has four beautifully decorated torans depicting various events from the life of Buddha and Jatakas. Figure composition are in high relief, filling up the entire space. The depiction of posture gets naturalistic and carving techniques appear more advanced than Brihat. The original brick stupa built during the Mauryan period was covered with stone during the Shunga period. The second and third stupa seem to have been commissioned during Shunga period, apart from Pillar 25. The highly decorated gateway are from Shatavahana period. The historical narratives such as Shege of Kushinagara, Buddha is visit to Kapilavastu, visit of Ashoka to Rama Grama Stupa and Buddha covering the temptation of Mara and carved with considerable details. Amaravati Stupa. This school of art flourished during Shatavahana period at Amaravati along the bank of river Krishna in Andhra Pradesh. The period of this art is from 2nd century BCE to 3rd century AD, and one of the largest Buddhist stupa was also located here. The Amaravati stupa, which is largely destroyed now, used to be 50 meter in diameter and 30 meter in height. It is known for its superb relief, that is raised sculpture, work which depicted events from the Buddha's life and his previous births, that is Jataka stories. The reliefs are carved on greenish white limestone. The representation of Lord Buddha changed over a period of time from an iconic such as an empty throne symbolizing his presence to iconic, that is Buddha in human form in a seat or standing position. A representation. The figure have slim bleat features and are represented in difficult pose and curves. The scene are generally overcrowded. The figures are filled with dynamic movement, awareness of dramatic and a delight of sensuous world. This school also influenced art in Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. Next, Gandhara, Madura and Amaravati School of Arts. Three prominent schools of art developed during post-Mauryan rule at three different regions of India centered at Gandhara, Madura and Amaravati. Gandhara School. Buddha is the symbolic form got a human form in Gandhara and Mathura School of Art. Developed in northwest frontier of India, Gandhara's cultural tradition had at the confluence of Bactria, Parthia and local Gandhara tradition. It imbibed influence from Roman, Greek and Shaka and Kushana art. Next, features of Gandhara art. The chief features are are as follows. The Buddha head has typically Hellenistic elements that have grown over a period of time. The curly hair of Buddha is thick, having a, a covered layer of sharp and linear strokes over the head. There is a certain amount of heaviness in the figure of the Gandhara region. The ears are elongated, especially the earlobe. The treatment of the form bears linearity and outlines are sharp. The expression of calmness is the center point of attraction, and modeling of the face enhance the naturalism of three-dimensionality. The material used for sculpture is usually blue, grey, mica, schist and grey sandstone. Next, Mathura school. Mathura school flourished in the city of Mathura from 2nd BC to 12th AD. Under the patronage of Kushanas, the Buddha image at Mathura is modeled on the lines of earlier Yaksha image. The images of Vaishnava, that is Vishnu in various forms, and Shaiva, mainly the lingas and Mukha lingas. Faiths are also founded at Mathuras, but Buddhist images are found in large number. The image of Buddha from the Katra Mount belonged to 2nd century CE and reveals the feature of Mathura school of art. The local sculpture tradition at Mathura became so strong that the tradition spread to other parts of northern India. The best example in this regard is the stupa sculpture found at Shangol in Punjab. Features of Mathura school are: Buddha is generally shown in Padmasana, and right hand is in the Abhaya Mudra, raised a little above shoulder level. Mathura sculpture from this period are made with high volume, having fleshy body and ushanisha, that is hair knot, and is shown with a vertically raised projection. The hollow around the head of the Buddha is very large and is decorated with simple geometric motifs. Curves in the body are delicately carved, and the bulge in the belly is sculptured with controlled musculature. Next, Amaravati school. In the southern parts of India, the Amaravati school developed on the banks of Krishna river under the patronage of Shatavahana ruler. Amaravati school put more emphasis on the use of dynamic images, unlike other two schools. Features of Amaravati school are: the sculptures of Amaravati have a profound naturalism in human, animal and floral forms. There is a sense of movement and energy in the sculpture. There is emphasis on the narrative elements with stories from the life of Buddha and Bodhisattvas. The sculpture of this school made excessive use of the Tribhanga posture, that is the body with three bends. The stupas at Amaravati are predominantly made of distinctive white marble. Next, differences between Gandhara, Mathura and Amaravati schools. First point, external influence. In Gandhara school, heavy influence of Greek and Hellenistic sculpture, so it is also known as Indo-Greek art. Mathura school was developed indigenously and not influenced by external features. Amaravati school was developed indigenously and not influenced by external features. Next point, ingredients used. Early Gandhara school used bluish grey sandstone, while the later period saw the use of mud and stucco. In Mathura, the sculpture of Mathura school were made using spotted red sandstone. The sculpture of Amaravati school were made using white marbles. Next, religious influence. In Gandhara school, mainly Buddhist imagery influenced by the Greco-Roman pantheon. In Mathura school, influence of all three religions of the time, that is Hinduism, Jainism and Buddhism. In Amaravati school, mainly Buddhist influence. patronage. Gandhara school is patronized by Kushana rulers. Mathura school is patronized by Kushana rulers. Amaravati school is patronized by Shatavahana rulers. Next, area of development. Gandhara school developed in the northwest frontier in the modern day area of Khandar. Mathura school developed in and around Mathura, Shonk and Kankalitila. Kankalitila was famous for Jain sculptures. Amaravati school developed in the Krishna Godavari lower valley in and around Amaravati and Nagarjunakonda. Next, features of Buddha sculpture. In Gandhara school, the Buddha is shown in the spiritual state with wavy hair. He wears fewer ornaments and seated in the position of a yogi. The eyes are off closed as in meditation. A protuberance is shown on the head, signifying the omniscience of Buddha. In Mathura school, Buddha is shown in delighted mood with smiling face. The body is muscular, wearing tight dress, and face and head are shaven. Buddha is seated in Padmasana with different mudras and his face reflects grace. A similar protuberance is shown on the head. Next, in Amaravati schools, since the sculpture are generally part of narrative art, there is a less emphasis on the individual features of Buddha. The sculptures generally depict life stories of Buddha and the Jataka tales, that is the previous lives of Buddha, in both human and animal form. In next class, let us study about art and architecture in Gupta period. Thank you.